that, you'll get you'll get like a famous cancer doctor. There's some author from Detroit from the 1930s. There was a movie critic up in New York, so people would leave little notes on my door, or like on my locker in high school. It says Neal Rosen says, because he was constantly leaving movie reviews. Neal Rosen says thumbs down on E.T. or something. I don't know.
My screen is going nuts right now because I dropped my computer one too many times. So don't be surprised if I
thought that was part of I thought that was part of throwing me off, like that it's going to flicker and stuff. You're trying to get me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, this is the way I subliminally get you to say things you don't want to say. Like shit, damn.
It's working. It's working.
All righty. So we're live and we're on Comic Spot, episode number 1007. I'm sorry you weren't my first.
Holy cow.
I would have preferred you, but
1007. I'm honored.
1007.
Who was the 1000th? Was the 1000th? Did you pick some very special guest for 1000th?
Who do you think I would have picked to have come back on?
I mean, I don't know who you know. I mean, does it run the whole gamut of known and unknown comics?
Two people I'm famous for interviewing: Sinbad and Tommy Chong.
I did no research. So who's he?
Tommy Chong.
Oh wow, Tommy Chong. Was he your 1000th?
Yeah.
And when he first did it, what was he, 17th or something? When was the first time he did it?
Oh Lord, I can't remember. He's been on like for 5.5 hours, 4 different times.
Wow, that already makes me tired.
He's so interesting. You have to listen to them. He blows your mind. He's not just a stupid stoner, you know. He might be a stoner, but he's like a guru.
Yeah, well, I remember watching Cheech and Chong movies at probably too young an age to really understand what was going on, but it was definitely a trip. You were like, there's something nuts about these guys. Yeah, it was super interesting. But I felt like whenever I saw it, I think it was like we weren't supposed to be watching it, and we were like at a friend's house, and they had a VHS tape or whatever, and he was like, watch this, you know, that kind of thing. So
they are like those two are personally responsible for all of the stoners that happened in the 60s and the 70s. And I think they should be getting residuals from every dispensary, because they wouldn't even be around if it wouldn't have been for Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, now they'd be corporate barons.
Yes, exactly.
Owning it.
Yes.
Got it. All right. Well, I'll take 1,000. I'll take 1,007th. That's cool. I like it.
Perfect. I appreciate that, since you have no choice. So let me read you your own intro. How's that?
Please.
Let's start there. I hope you talk about yourself in the third person, because that's so funny to me.
Oh, was my bio in the third person?
No, but I was hoping it would be.
Oh.
Because I love that. Like, you're talking about yourself in the third. So when I'm doing it, it's like the fourth person. I don't know. It's just weird. Okay.
Okay. I'm ready.
Here is the intro, you guys, for Neal Rosen, the guy in the other square. Okay. Neal Rosen, that's him, was born in Suffern, New York. Despite growing up in a town spelled with the word suffer and his first initial, Neal had a fine childhood and went to college in Troy, New York, a town once called the armpit of America. Neal graduated with an engineering degree and decided to stop his run of living in nondescript places nobody knows about by accepting a job in the great state of Delaware. Yes, Delaware, which is, of course, famously known for low corporate taxes. That's what. Neal's job moved him to Houston, and he met a girl at a softball game. who's on first. When she ran out onto the field to play shortstop, Neal sprinted out onto the field and violently shoved other guys out of the way so he could play third base. Neal is still married to that said girl, has 3 sons, 3 dogs, and many car payments. At age 50, yesterday, Neal was crowned the 5th funniest person in Houston. Back when he was 28, he was 7th funniest. So watch out for when he's 90. Neal's comedy is based on stuff and things and topics. How unique. Let's read that again. That's so unique. Neal's comedy is based on stuff, and things, and topics.
Sure.
He performs said comedy all the time. And sometimes someone violently shoves a mic into his hand so other people can hear it. Welcome to the stage, the one, the only comedian who met his wife, the said wife, on a baseball field. And here he is right now, Neal Rosen.
Yeah, thank you.
I powered through your intro.
Oh, you even did the nice on the Delaware joke, so that's good. I like that.
Thank you. Did I give it justice?
Yeah, I mean, yes. If I needed a substitute to do my material on stage, you're in. You're in. Which I think would be a fun exercise, wouldn't it? To just switch acts with somebody one night that you see a lot and just say, I'm doing your act, you do mine. It'd be kind of a fun night.
It is fun. I've seen it done. It's hilarious, especially if they're kind of lightly making fun of that person, like mimicking, like I had somebody mimic me. It's fun to watch somebody, how they perceive your persona and your inflection. And
I agree.
It's so you learn something. Sometimes you come away learning something you can do better.
Right. You wish you would say it as well as they did. So you start copying it. Yes.
Yeah. This guy mimicked my voice and I said, now I feel like killing myself. Thanks a lot.
Which is right. That's not an example of improving. That would be no.
It'd be improving the world for other people, but it's not.
It depends on the perspective. But for yourself, that wouldn't be an improvement. No.
Yeah. So let's talk about Neal Rosen. This one right here. How long have you known him?
I've known him my whole life, actually. Actually, that's not even fair to say, because I don't remember anything prior to sort of age 7. So really, I've known 50-year-old Neal for about 43 years, really.
Talk to me about those 7 years that you didn't know yourself.
I don't know anything about them. I hear that I was living with 2 older sisters and a dad and a mom in Suffern, New York. But really, I honestly don't remember. The only thing I can remember at all from a young age is that my mom's mom wore very pointy shoes. And so it must have been a very young age, because I must have been on the floor just crawling and looking at her shoes. That's pretty much my main memory. I have one other memory that now it's coming to light, and there's photos of this, that apparently when I was about 5, we went to Hershey Park in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and someone was dressed up like a big Hershey bar, and I was terrified of the Hershey bar, beyond not a sane amount of terror. And there's pictures of me absolutely just screaming and crying because the chocolate bar came and said hello to me. So those are my 2 memories from age 0 to 7. How's that?
Wow. I have to identify with that. I mean, that's very relatable, because I'm scared to death of Hershey bars too. When I eat them, they make my hips grow. So I just take the skinny little Hershey bar and super glue it right to my hips, and I'm better off.
You think that does less hip increase than the eating? Yeah, I don't know. You have to check. I don't know the science behind that technique, honestly.
I haven't checked it out, but I haven't even thought of this before this moment, so who cares?
Well, then if that was what you did with all the chocolate bars, just sort of adhere them to your body, then what you could do is you could one day be like, I lost a lot of weight, and it'd just be all gone. And everyone would be like, wow, how did you do it? I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of as an advantage to that. It would be uncomfortable to wear a lot of chocolate bars, though. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Remember when they had those necklaces with the sweethearts on them?
Yes, and you were supposed to eat them, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I ever had one myself, but I saw people have them. My family wasn't big on candy or snacks. There wasn't a lot of snacking going on.
You must have had the same family I did. My parents, who survived the Holocaust, did not think that we should be eating junk food. And I don't know why those two are tied together, but they are. We got no
it's probably for whatever reason you would have to not eat junk food. If it has to be the Holocaust, okay. But but like I think it's probably good to have a reason to not eat junk food. I mean, like I think that's probably a good life choice if you can pull it off.
Do you think it's because they loved me? Wouldn't that be weird if I found that out at 72?
Let's say yes, but however, there could be a dark reason. It could be that maybe during the Holocaust, if they were captured by Germans, maybe they forced the Jews to eat only junk food. I don't know. Is that possible?
Yes, because they made them eat moldy rye bread. So I don't put it past them. Not that I dislike Germans, because Hitler was from Austria. So let's get our history straight.
Right, but that could be. It could be like we had to eat Doritos, only Doritos in the concentration camps, so we don't eat that anymore. Sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Cheese puffs. What a pain. You'd have like all that debris.
I mean, to be fair, actually, if you only could eat junk food, it would be a problem after a while.
It would.
Like actually after about 4 hours, I would be I mean, like if the only food, like they said, listen, this concentration camp's not going to be as bad as you think. We're going to give you as much food as you want, but it's only cheese puffs and Hershey bars. I think you would be really upset pretty quickly.
Yeah. Even though the cheese puffs have like a little bit of roughage and they're not sweet, so you got the two, but you know, you're gonna start craving broccoli at some point.
Yeah, you're like, can we have more of that moldy bread? Is it because can we go back to the moldy bread? I mean, I know this was good intention, but
I can't imagine that in the Holocaust there weren't people in there that were like, can I talk to the manager? Can we get like a place with less of a draft?
Well, listen, not to make fun of Jews, because I am a Jew, but if there was going to be a group that would complain to the manager in that situation. Hey, so here's an early memory. So, and maybe you could, by the way, where did you grow up?
Portland, Oregon. Woo!
Okay, got it. Okay, so I grew up in a suburb of New York City. So a lot of Jews. So during Christmas Eve, everything in our county was closed except for one diner and one movie theater. And so that night, it was the night of 100% Jews. And so first off, the movie theater, there were a lot of like, it's too loud. It's not loud enough. Why is it, whatever. So there was a lot of that. And then at the diner, the poor people that were not Jews that were working that night could not have had a worse experience with Jews, because everything was returned or too cold, or this is not what I ordered. I said without onions, or this. And so I would think that if you had to work on Christmas and you were a non-Jew, you probably yeah, you probably it couldn't have been worse. It just couldn't have been worse. Yeah, and your impression of Jews was probably just not good. Not good. Yeah.
Like my dad used to go to different restaurants, Neil, and he would piss everybody off, and then he would call my mother up and say that he's not going to go there anymore because they're anti-Semitic and they hate Jews. And my mother said, "No, you're an asshole."
All right. Would you agree that the two favorite games of every Jew, one is guessing who's a Jew?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Like, oh, and sometimes it's not even someone you meet. It's just like based on the name. Like, oh, there's a new person at work. His name is whatever, like Sorensen or something. And they go, could that be Jewish? Do you think that's Jewish? Where, and then the other thing is, wait, I forgot the other thing. Hold on. Oh yes, the other favorite game is just simply calling things anti-Semitic. That's the other favorite game. Yes, that's yeah. My dad calls. He's alive. He's 87. He pretty much calls anything where the word Jew is mentioned is anti-Semitic. Anything at all. Yeah, just yeah.
We have a thing in America now going on that's really getting popular. It's become a thing, is anti-Semitism. And there's like two factions of it. There's anti-Semitism from hate and, like not like just ignorance. And then there's well-deserved hate against, and even some of us hate each other.
Yes. Do you find yourself like, when there's a sort of a high profile crime committed and you're like, please don't be a Jew. Please don't be a Jew. Do you do that? You just got like, yeah.
Like if there's a mass shooting in Borough Park, I'm hiding under my couch.
Yes. All right, good. Got it. Jews.
So yeah, let's get beyond the Jews. So let's talk about little Neal Rosen. I would have loved to have been there when you were a little kid. Like those first 7 years you don't remember. I'm not sure what that's about. Were you like abused and do you just want to forget, or what?
No. It was pretty. It was. We lived in a pretty place. No, it was fine. I don't know. I just don't have many memories back then. I don't know. It was
That's funny. That's
it was all,
funny.
It was sort of.
That's a whole bit.
It was sort of fine, I guess. I don't know. You ever hear the joke about
it was not memorable.
You ever hear the joke about how Einstein talked late? You ever hear the joke about that? My dad is that Albert Einstein was a late talker. Have you ever heard that?
No.
So I think it's true. I'm just basing it on a joke my dad repeated to me over and over again. So he said, Albert Einstein was a late talker. He, and his parents were very worried, and they took him to doctors. He just wasn't saying anything. And, he got 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, wasn't saying anything. And they could not figure it out. Finally, one night at dinner, he goes, "These potatoes are cold." And his mom goes, "Albert, you just spoke, Albert. You've spoken for the first time. It sounds like you're able to speak. Why did you stay silent until now?" He said, "Well, everything was fine until now." So I don't know how that relates to me not remembering anything up through 8, 7, but maybe there was no trauma at all. And people say you remember emotional things. Maybe I didn't really have any big emotional things. It was fine. I don't know.
I think that's a great bit for comedy, because I've never talked to anybody that didn't remember 7 years of their life that didn't have a sob story about it.
Right. Oh, yeah, I'll write it down. I like
that. I want to hear that when you get that worked out. That's going to be funny. Come to Wise Guys in Las Vegas and do that for 3 minutes.
Sure.
Fly here for 3 minutes.
I will do it. Boy,
Where's home?
I'm in Houston, Texas.
That's what I thought you said.
Hold on. I just lost the screen that you're on. Hold on.
No problem.
Where are you?
I'm in my living room in Vegas.
I know where you are. I can hear you. For some reason, I lost sight of you. How did I do that?
That might be okay.
Oh, I found it. Okay, got it. You're back.
My ex lost sight of me, and he hasn't complained.
But I live in Houston. I've been in Houston, as my bio said. I've been in Houston since age 25. I came down for a job. Didn't know anyone down here, but I did, in fact, go to a softball game a few months after I got here, and I met my wife, and we got married a year later. So we're going to be 25 years married this September. We have 3 kids, and
each kid came with a dog.
yes, I guess we did this. Did I tell a joke? Did I tell a joke about that on stage?
I don't remember.
Oh, well, I have a bit that's okay now that I do. And I say, I have 3 kids, and I should say they're really 3 young men now. Their names are Alex, Dave, and Eric. Coincidentally, I also have 3 dogs, but I have a friend who doesn't think that's a coincidence. No, he goes, no. I see what's going on here. You guys have empty nest syndrome. You've replaced your sons with the dogs. And I go, that's stupid to say. Just because it's the same number of sons and dogs doesn't mean we have some kind of syndrome. But anyway, about my dogs, their names are Alex, Dave, and Eric. And that's the punchline.
I love that. I love that.
There you go.
So,
but I do have 3 dogs, but their names are not the same as my son's.
So which is your favorite dog? Because that's a safe question. I'm cracking myself up in case you don't know
the dogs. I know that everyone knows my dog, so this will be a meaningful answer. There's one of the dogs is named Lucy, and I think she's the best at being a dog. She's what you want in a dog. She barks at the moments you'd want a dog to bark. She doesn't bark at the moments you would not want a dog to bark. And she seems to have like studied the handbook of being a dog. And so she's my favorite.
She doesn't have doggy autism or
no, I mean, but one of our dogs, he was a stray and we ended up getting him. He's like a Vietnam vet, and he has a limp. He has a bad limp. And so like he limps around and he has PTSD, and he's got like scars and stuff. Like he's a Vietnam. I don't know. I don't know. I've never lived with an actual Vietnam vet, but I think in dog form I do.
Does he wake up with nightmares?
Well, nobody wakes up a lot. I mean, so I don't. He can't really articulate if he had a nightmare. He doesn't speak English too well. But and then we have another dog, Gino, that's we got as a puppy from a litter in the neighborhood. And he has lived too charmed a life because he didn't have any struggles, and all he knows is just he's been in a home where everyone pets him and he's loved. So he's kind of like incorrigible, like
It's like Marilyn. He's been surrounded by yes people.
Yes. So Lucy's my favorite. There you go.
I love Lucy, and I haven't even met Lucy.
Oh, you would fall in love again when you meet her.
What breed are these dogs? What brand?
Lucy and Trey are black labs of some sort, but mutts really. And then Gino's a mutt, but he's mostly like a Rottweiler or something like that. He's scary looking, but he's good for Houston because he stands near the front. We have a driveway like gate, and he just stands there and just barks all day at people. So it's great. Like we've lived in this house for 20 something years. I assume that there's got to be at least one moment where someone's like, maybe we should rob this house. And they're like, oh, no, not this one. Because there was a giant Rottweiler barking at the gate. So I think for all the thousands and thousands of pounds of dog food I bought for him, I feel like if he stopped one robbery, right? I mean, come on.
My
But I think
grandma
it does make me feel good to have dogs that go bananas when someone rings the doorbell or just when they see someone on the street. I think I think it is good. It is safe. It's annoying, but it's safe, I think.
yeah.
Because I don't bark as much as my dogs do. So I don't, yeah.
My grandma, she came over here in 1946 from Germany and lived in one house the whole time. And in 2000, her house got broken into, she got robbed. And you know what they took?
The dog?
A
No.
bite of salami in her refrigerator.
A bite of salami?
A bite.
So they left some of the salami.
Yeah.
Wait, are you sure she was robbed? Did she call up and say, "Oh, I've been robbed"? And he said, "What's been taken? A bite of salami. There was this much salami when I went to bed, and now there's only this much."
My grandma literally complained herself to death. Well, the nurses called it bitching herself to death. And she scared the robber. So he dropped everything. He picked up everything that was of value and dropped it.
Oh, she saw the robber.
She was in the home, and she
all right, then that makes sense. If she was just reporting that part of her salami was missing, I would think, Grandma, you probably ate more than you thought you did the day before. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, my dad's mom, supposedly, legend has it, she lived in the Bronx in New York. Same apartment my dad grew up in, but she lived there until she was like 90. She apparently, more than once, someone tried to snatch her purse. But her purse was always so heavy. Her purse, she carried around a lot of change. So it was like really heavy. I remember when she'd come over to visit us, like I would get a kick out of just like trying to pick her purse up. So I feel like she was also kind of a tough cookie. So I feel like the person went to snatch the purse and then probably immediately went, "Oh," and then like their back went out. And then she probably yelled and, kind of slapped them or something. And then they said, "Forget it. Bye. I'm not going to." Her name was Bertha, by the way. So that's a great, tough, old Jewish lady name.
Was she big, like Big Bertha?
No, she was like 3'1". She was so short.
Really?
No, I mean, I don't know if she's 3'1", but she was really little. She was sturdy. She looked like she always looked like she was waiting online for toilet paper. That was pretty much her look, like kind of communist Russia waiting online for goods, kind of, a thing, a schmata, and then like a moo, and then and she sort of was like,
like a barrel.
Yeah, but she was funny. She would always tell me who was on her shit list. Have you ever heard this term? It's a great term. She would go, "Neal, you know who's on my shit list?" I'd be like, and usually it was my dad. So she'd go, "Your father's supposed to call me yesterday. He's on my shit list." I go, "Okay." And I was never on his shit list. So I was never on her shit list. So that's cool. My sisters seem to get on her shit list. So one thing you should know about me as a kid is that I was the only boy in my family.
You hesitated when you said boy.
Well, only boy in my family. And then, but even my first cousins were all girls too. So I was the I was the only boy. So you sort of like, I don't know, people like that. And then,
how many times did they dress you up in drag?
My sisters would sometimes not really dress me up, but they're 5 and 8 years older than me. If they were doing like a facial, like a mud thing, they would just be like, "Here, you do it too." So I would sit with them and I'd have like facial mud. And then the other thing is sharing a bathroom with two older sisters. I pretty much just had a toothbrush, and they had like 17,000 items. Like, I mean, like the bathroom was just dominated by them. Anyway, I remember just a bathroom just so full of items I didn't understand, and makeup and this and that, and I just would find my toothbrush and get in there. Yeah. How am I doing? Is this? Are we doing okay here, Linda? How does this?
You're covering all the bases.
How does
just
this
like
rank
you did
out of
with your wife.
out of 1,007 episodes? Where am I ranking right now?
34th.
All right. Hey, is that 34th from the top, or are we? Which? Where is that?
I'd have to kill you.
Right. Got it. 34th. All right. Okay. I'm going to ask that again at the end of the conversation and see where I rank.
Let's see where this goes. Like,
And if you go like 53rd.
Wouldn't that be fun if we had a little bar at the bottom, and as you're bullshitting, as the comics are bullshitting, they go up in the rating and down.
I mean, you'd adjust. I'd know when to cut it short. I'd say, all right, enough on the toothbrush story. Like, it's not helping my rating.
Then I'd put up a pile of shit if I thought that you're talking.
The shit list.
Yeah. if I thought you were saying something that wasn't true, or you're going into your comedy shtick, I'd put a poop sign up.
I got it. I won't do that.
Could have fun with this. That would make this look boring.
There's no way. This is impossible. So all right, what else should we talk about?
As a good Jew, do you come up with inventions? My dad always was thinking of inventions, and I am always thinking of inventions.
Not so much. Not really. The most inventive thing I have is my youngest son and I, there was like a tall tree on the front yard, and it had a big branch that was kind of cracked, and it looked like it was going to fall across the driveway, even onto the neighbor's roof. And I was like, all right, I'm probably gonna have to pay someone to come out, because it's probably, I don't know, 50 feet in the air or something. And I'm not really a handy person either. So but I don't know, for some reason, my son and I were like, we could probably get it down. Let's figure out a way to get it down. This was the most inventive thing we've ever done. And so what we did was we took a basketball, a basketball that was older that we didn't care about. We went to the Home Depot and bought like 80 feet of rope. And then we took super glue, and we kind of wrapped the rope around the basketball. You can probably see where this is going. And we let it dry overnight. And then it took us about an hour and a half of attempts. But finally, my son, on one of his attempts, was able to throw the basketball with the heavy rope off it, just got over the branch, just got over it, bounced on it, fell off to the other side, and it was hanging across it. And then we just kind of did this to the rope. The basketball came down, and we each changed positions, and we pulled down this branch with our basketball rope tool. So I think my ranking just went down to 117th with that story, but that's okay.
Or it could have gone up if it was at the bottom.
Right. I mean, you hit an area that I'm not strong in, which is inventing. So that's my best invention story.
I was just thinking that you have a possible joke / wordplay with that story. Do you do that on stage?
Wordplay?
No, do you do that story on stage?
No, that story has not made it to the stage.
It's great. It's a great story.
It is a good story. Yeah, okay, I'm writing this down. Sometimes you need, do you find this? Wait, here, let me write this down first. So, story of rope basketball tool. Okay. Do you find, so I have one, there's not that many comedians that where we proactively meet up to hey, well, let's help each other with jokes. But I have some. And there's one guy in particular, his name is Frank Overton. You could look him up. He's a good comic. We meet every month and a half or so. But what happens is what we think we're going to do is that we're each going to bring one or two joke ideas we kind of would like to get some help with or get some feedback on. And that happens, but usually we just shoot the shit first for a good hour or more. And usually when we're shooting the shit, both of us end up saying like, hey, that's a bit, like that you just said is a bit. And then you go, oh, okay, yeah, okay, you're right. That's a bit like that. And so I think it's very helpful what you're doing to say, hey, that might be an interesting bit, or that, because I think sometimes, you know, you like to talk, obviously, I like to talk. We're constantly talking. Sometimes I need someone to circle something I just said and said, that's a bit, do that.
Yeah. You can get me on Zoom anytime to tell me life stories, and I'd like to hear what you think's funny from my life.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, maybe we could do a joke helping session too with each other if you want.
That would be great. I would love that.
That sounds good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Not
Not now, but let's do it another time.
Not now. That's, you know, we'll
Not on the air. Not on the air.
Yeah. Not with all these thieves out here that steal material.
Oh my God.
I don't want to hear somebody talking about their grandfather trying to go after them sexually and know that that's my bit. That's my bit.
Or suddenly I'm going to be watching the Tonight Show and the guy's doing a rope basketball tool joke. And I'm like, what the? How many people are watching this damn show? God darn it.
That one person that watched it
stole it. Let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like there's a joke idea you had that you have heard elsewhere and you're sort of like, wow, that is very similar. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, it has happened. Has that happened to you?
Yeah, but I don't feel like they're stolen jokes. I don't. I just feel like they're coincidental premises. For example, I forget the guy's name. There's a guy named Sam something that has a special out in the last year from Chicago. Sam Morrell? Is there a Sam Morrell?
Yes, Morrell. Morrill.
Very funny. And this is not anything, no worry about Sam Morrell. However, I'm watching his special and he tells a joke about a new congresswoman in Illinois, which makes sense because he lives in Illinois, who she was a junior, like first elected to the House of Representatives. Her first speech, ever public speech, she quoted Hitler. And so the joke that he told was like the quote, her quote of Hitler was to a bunch of it was like to a mom's group, and it was that this is what she said, and she got heat from this in the press. She said, Hitler got one thing right. That's how she started the quote, which is not a great way to start any speech. But she said, Hitler got one thing right. He said, if you have the children, you have the future. So that was, and then she went on to talk about education or something. And so like his joke, and I actually said the same, I saw that news story and I wrote the same concept that he performed, but did she feel like she needed a famous person to make the point that children are the future? First off, like, I mean, who would disagree with that? Like, children by definition are the future. But also, like, why quote Hitler? Like was she with her speechwriters and she's like, I need someone like famous that said like the children of the future, and then like one of the speechwriters like, well, what about Whitney Houston? You know, she said, I believe the children are the future, and then the congresswoman said like, no. Drug addict. I don't want to touch that. Just someone safer. Well, Hitler said it. Let's go with that. Let's go with Hitler. So that's kind of, that's the long version of something Sam said. But I somewhere at open mic or something. It wasn't something. It was topical, so I said it for a few things. But then I watched the Sam Morrell special, and he conjured up the same joke. So wow. I have no problem with that. But it just shows you that, you know, some things that happen are going to lead definitely to some similar thoughts and premises. And what about you? Anything in particular?
Yeah, I had one person confess to taking a joke,
Whoa.
and he was in a contest and he used it to get into the next round. And when he used my joke, he didn't get into the next round, and that made me madder than him stealing my joke.
Now, is this something where you were watching it or you heard about it? Both. Yes, watching it.
So here's the other thing that happened. I'm minding my own business on Facebook, and that's not an easy task. And so I decide I'll post a joke. And it was like I was 2 years in. My jokes are sick, stupid, basic, wordplay and puns mostly. But for some crazy reason, somebody liked this joke. So
Okay.
I had it on a pink background with this joke, and I posted it. And like a minute later, I see a post from a friend with a pink background and my joke. And he didn't share it. He didn't
He just
click
repeated
like.
it. He just basically.
He screenshot it and made it his own post without crediting me.
Wow.
Yeah. So I said, now I'm not minding my own business anymore. And I said, oh my gosh, that's my joke. You can't steal my joke. He goes, yes, I can. I said, no, you can't. It's my joke. You can't have it like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, I can too. So I never look at people's stuff like their bio unless I'm doing it and you give it to me. I hate spying on people, but now you pissed me off. I'm going to spy. So I'm looking for ammunition to get him with, right? Because I'm mad. And I looked at his bio. He went to my high school. He was a salutatorian, and he worked as a booker at a comedy club in my hometown where I lived, right?
Okay.
Now, so I said, well, you might not know because you were only the salutatorian at our high school. But you should know because you're a booker at a comedy club.
Well, that's weird. It's also, Renata, that's weird. So I guess that's not good. How about when people and also like when people that aren't comedians, you've probably gotten this, you get people saying, hey, I have a joke you should do, but like it's something they saw someone else do, like or they, it's a quote they read, like here's a joke that's well known that you should do, and I'm like, that's not what I'm going for here. Like, that's I mean, like I actually don't really, it's not fun. I don't mind getting, I mean, definitely ideas come from, you'll have a fun conversation with someone. I already wrote down 2 things today, right? And it comes from conversation, you stumble upon things, go, ooh, that's an idea. But like, I definitely don't want someone to say like, I have an idea for you. Here's what it is, and lay it out for you. Cause that's not interesting, honestly. Like, and also whenever anyone does that, it's always bad also.
Always. So. I've never had anybody. The other day, I've been getting on shows a little more than usual.
I've been spying on you. I saw.
Thank you. So this guy that used to open for every Tom, Dick, and Harry on the planet, like top singers and groups.
Okay.
He bounces into my email and he says, hey, what kind of jokes do you do? What's your persona? And like, are you trying to stump me? Because I know what a persona is. And so I said, I do mostly self-deprecating, where I'm kind of like Mrs. Magoo or Gracie Allen confusing things, it's kind of my thing. Yeah. And so he goes, well, you should do the news, like topical news stories, like, and then nobody's doing that. I'm like, oh, I don't know. There's a lot of people that are. Have you seen Saturday Night Live? Right. Have you seen Bob Zaney, the Zaney Report?
Right.
Then he decides, oh, I know, this is what you should do. And he sends me all kind of jokes that I've heard 50 years ago. Yes. And you can't fool me. And I went off on the guy, and then I blocked him, and then my phone blew up. And the person that recommended me to be friends with this guy says, "Hey, did you have a falling out with this guy?" And I, hell yeah, I did. Here's why. And he goes, "Well, you might not want to burn this bridge because he can get you all kind of gigs." And I'm like, I don't suck up to people for that. But Mazel tov.
Yeah, no. I don't. I get it. No, and actually, my favorite part of doing stand-up is when you sort of realize you have a new good idea, and you sort of go, "Ooh, this will work," like that ideation moment. um and it's not necessarily like, maybe it's not even the moment where you go, yeah, that could be something. It's more like when you work it a bit and go, oh yeah, that could be funny. And yes, it's also fun to try it and for it to work. But I actually would say, just when you do it long enough, you start realizing when you're like, oh, this is going to work. Like, that's going to be funny. I can't wait to do that.
When you're doing a good show, how many new jokes do you dare to put in?
When I'm doing a new show,
or a good show, like
you're a real show,
show. When you're really excited about a show, do you sandwich in any
more than I used to be, more willing to do that than I used to be, because I think so. I did comedy quite a lot from like age 25 to like 30. But then like having kids, it was just too much going on. So I really didn't perform much from age 30 till like 3 years ago. I would say back then, if I was in a show that I cared about, it was only proven stuff. I would never be like, I'll try this thing I did once, or even for that matter, try something I thought of on the car ride over. Now I am much more willing to do that. Probably because I getting longer spots than I used to, so that there's just a lot more proven stuff sandwiched around it. And also, just if it's going well, you know this, like confidence, and the feel of it is such a huge part of what makes something work. And it's not just the words and the concept at all. And I think I've learned that too, that it's, there are actually jokes that on paper I'm like, this is okay. It's okay. You know what I mean? But it's not I don't think this is the funniest, cleverest thing, and maybe it's a 5 out of 10. But if it where it fits and in the flow of something else. Also, like, I tend to work in blocks, right? Like, I actually did like a 20-minute set last night at it was a Monday night show. I mean, so whatever. It's not whatever. I got paid $20 to do it. So, but still 20 minutes. So like when I go up to do 20 minutes, I'm not thinking like, I'm gonna do this, then this, then this, then this. I'm thinking like, I'm gonna do the stuff about having kids. Then I'm gonna do stuff about feeling old. Then I'm gonna do stuff from work. Then I'm gonna do that stuff about my parents. And then maybe there's like, and then that stuff about X. Like, it's like 5 blocks of things. And so within a block, like if I'm talking about my kids and I have like 6 bits I might do within it, 3 might be like ones I like, those always work. I'd give them an A, and then the other 3 might be B's and C's. And actually one of them might even be a new idea, because it's just kind of among better ideas. You know what I mean? So there you go. I just gave the longest answer to that question.
Hey, it's okay. It's not.
Where am I ranked? Where am I ranked now? I'm like at 183 now after that answer.
Like, I gotta say, in terms of feeling me and my feelings about my show with you on it, I know you're a small part of this whole thing.
Yes.
You make me feel so comfortable.
Oh, good.
I don't know if the opposite is true, but I'm getting an opportunity to talk, laugh, riff, connect. You're doing all this should be your show.
Actually, I just took over the show. Sorry, your show. Yeah,
Let me make you the host.
you had a good run. 1007 is a good run. I regret to inform you that I just taken over the show. Sorry about that.
1001 Dalmatians +6.
You had a great run. You really did. But yeah, the votes are in. You're out.
I need to sell this, like if I could sell all of these interviews to somebody that would put them somewhere where the military could see them, I would sell them all for $5 a piece and start all over again.
Where the military can see them? Why the military?
Because everything I do is for the military and veterans.
Okay, got it.
That's the only reason I started comedy. That's the only reason I'm studying. It's the only reason I get up in the morning is to make military and veterans laugh. No offense if you never served.
I didn't serve.
That's okay. But
but I'm not offended at all.
That's good. I'm glad. Yeah. No, I go crazy to do comedy for the military. If there's one veteran in a room, I'll find him and I'll tell him, I can tell you what branch you were in.
Have you ever tried to find an avenue to be part of those, little groups that go over and perform somewhere? Or have you done that? Or have you tried to do that? Or what's
So you are so right on where the pain is you just touched this rating just plummeted or went up. I don't know. But
right.
I was selected. Somebody vouched for me and I got selected back in November to go to Poland.
Oh, okay.
And do an Armed Forces Entertainment show. But I didn't see the voicemail. So I missed that.
Oh.
And so I apologized and he said, oh, we'll do one in June. So I was guided to stay in front of him. So I sent him a message, maybe one too many. And so I sent him, I said, I'm really looking forward to this. This is all I ever wanted to do. This is why I got into comedy. And he goes, oh man, and we're not having one this year. So I've been invited on 2,
okay.
And it's 2 and 0.
There's 2 comics I know that are roughly my age in the Houston area that have actually, well, yes, they both have gotten the opportunity. They're really cruise ship comics now. Like they both are plays of Carnival, I think. Excellent guys. There's a guy named Tommy Drake, Drake, and John Wessling, JohnWessling, and they are Houston based, both very accomplished headliners, not like Tonight Show headliners, but like have performed all over the country at various times and true professionals. And they make a great living on a cruise ship. But every once in a blue moon, I know they go on armed forces trips to like Europe or the Middle East, and they've done that a few times. So I don't know. I don't know if that means. I don't know.
I will hit them.
That, but yeah.
I will hit them up, and I will offer a finder's fee of $500 to anybody that'll put me on one of those tours.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can say that we talked and just say Neal mentioned that you guys have done this before. I mean, any advice or help me out,
Thank you, because I think the troops need to see a real live Marilyn Monroe, don't you?
Sure. Yeah. And plus, if somebody really has a passion to perform for a particular audience, that's going to enhance the whole thing for everybody.
Thank you.
Right? I mean, so there's obviously other ingredients besides enthusiasm, but that's a great ingredient. and so
I've interviewed 1,007 comedians. I don't know if I told you, but during that time, unfortunately, 5 or 6 of them have told me that they book these tours. Well, I've got a memory like an elephant for something I have a passion for. So frequently I will get my name back in front of them and go, hey, how about now? How about now? How about now? So yeah, I'm
So what's your
serious.
experience? What's your experience, by the way, with just the general concept of somebody floated an idea like, oh, I booked some. So I'll tell you a generic. I'll describe this generically, but so there is a club that I got to perform at once in Texas. That's a good club to perform at. But I was on a Wednesday night, like in a showcase show. Like I got like 6 minutes, and it was like 15 people doing 6 minutes. Um, and there was like some, people in the dark writing shit down in the back. and and so um I I had a good set. I had a good set. And but who knows, right? You never know what's going on. And it wasn't like they said people that do well here will be booked. It just was like, come to a showcase show. Like there was no promises of anything. So
Right.
I ended up for a week or two in a row, I said, all right, my mom always said send the thank you note. So I said, I'm gonna send a thank you email to, I had the name of basically the booker for the club. And I said, hey, I don't know if you were around, but I really enjoyed whatever. And I just said thank you. I didn't even say I want anything. I just said thank you. And then and then actually, no, just from that one email, I did get an email like, oh, a week and a half later. And it said something like, hey, Neal, thanks for the note. I was like, whoa. And it said, I liked your joke about X. It was very relatable. So, and he said, would like to see more. I'll be in touch. And so I was like, of course, I was like, yeah, but then it's like, then what, right? So then I have this, and then I go, and I'm very organized guy. I use my calendar, I use my reminders, and so probably it sounds like you that I go, all right, if I don't hear from him by X, I just said, if I don't hear from him by 2 weeks from now, I'm just going to send him another email and say something like, hey, just following up, and I did, and then nothing, and then nothing, and nothing. That was like 2 to 3 months ago. No, sorry, 2 months ago ish. And I actually, right before this, I got an email back from him. Like, but this is after like I've sent him 7 emails or something like that, or 6 emails. And his email said something to the effect of, thanks for emailing. I do want to get you on a show. We'll be in touch. so like, no, like, come next, what are you doing next Friday or something like that? And so, or whatever. So the question for you is, this is the longest question ever asked in 1,007 episodes. Question for you is, what is your opinion on how I handled it? And what is your opinion on how I should handle it going forward?
I'm kind of learning this very lesson, and I'm glad you asked because it helps me form how I'm going to go forward.
Okay.
So I think I too need to do something differently because I've had it happen where they're so excited and they were like talking about booking you again and then nothing. So I think that I need to get the gumption out to pull out my calendar right in front of them when they're saying that and say, let's book it right now. If you're serious, let's do it now. And then they can choose to say, well, I was really just blowing smoke. I'm not, in other words, I'm not really that interested because they don't get out their calendar. Everybody these days, this is how I feel. Everybody has a calendar. Everybody knows their next couple things. And if nothing else, they can say, I'm going to be doing it in March, and go, great. Have your avails ready right then and say, I'm going to text you my March avails. Something to kind of solidify something right then.
Right. That's a great thought. And I'm just thinking about what that looks like in this case. You know what I mean? Because I guess, by the way, I think it's a great idea. And actually, for my other things I've done, if so like in the world, I think I told you I work like I work in software and technical work, and really I'm a salesperson. And so in sales, what works for me well, and it's different because it's just a different feeling, right? It's not my personal stake. You know what I mean? It's not something I'm like super passionate about, but so I honestly don't care as much, but the way I handle it with, let's say I'm trying to meet an executive that I haven't met before at an account I have, and I have some reason why we should talk. I know they're not going to respond to an email. I know that they're not going to. I'd like to talk to you. Sure, let's talk. That doesn't happen. But by the third email, I do the equivalent of what you just said. I actually just say, hey, I'm following up again. Still would love a chance to talk for 15 minutes about X. I'm going to take a stab at putting something on our calendars. Let me know if I need to move it. And 100% of the time, there's a response. If they haven't, like, it could be
like that.
It could be, I don't think we should. It could be like declining the meeting and saying, hey, I appreciate your persistence, but I don't see a reason for us to talk, which is fine. You learned something. Or they just accept it, or they send you, I need to move it to Thursday instead of Tuesday. Like, sending that calendar invite does prompt action 100% of the time, and or just gets them to go, I actually don't want to talk to you ever, which is great to know, right? So you just so
another sales technique, because I'm Jewish and I did sales. My dad was a big sales dude. So another thing that I've seen work, and it's worked for me, is to take it away from them.
Meaning, like, if you don't act, then it's not happening, kind of thing.
No, well, that's kind of like very detectable and not as high level of taking it away. Like, okay. I know that you and I talked about you booking me on your amazing show you have coming up somewhere down the road. I'd hate to miss that opportunity. And if I don't firm something up, I might miss that. So,
right.
Like psychologically, you're saying, I know you really want me.
Right.
But I'm also busy, but you're doing it in a way where I've got you hooked. You said you like me, you want to book me, but you might lose out. I'm just saying, I'm not really saying it, but you might.
So here's the thing, though, in the situation. So going back to me, because it's all about me.
It should be, but it's
all
not.
About me and my needs. So the person
here.
Here, let me see. Let me actually, here, we'll get to let's get down to brass tacks here. I will tell you what the word, this is like we're in junior high and I'm like, do you think she likes me? Do you think he likes, this is exactly what this is. What do you think? Do you think that means he wants to go out with me? Doesn't want to go out? Okay, so, let's see. Yeah, let's see. Yes, so January 16th was when he said, thank you for emailing, liked your joke, blah, 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 waiting on a couple of other things, and I'll be able to nail down stuff. I want to see more. And then I said, great, thank you. And then 2 weeks later, I wrote, just wanted to follow up, would love a chance to perform again, blah, blah, blah. 2 weeks after that, following up. By the way, I have a website now, blah, 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 blah. Nothing. Then just an hour ago. So really, it was only three follow-ups ish, right? So we're talking January 6th, January 14th was kind of when I did the showcase show, January 13th, something like that. And now we're sitting at February 21st. So today, this is the fourth email to him, third or fourth email. And I just said, hey, just checking in. Would love to perform at your place again. Thoughts? And then he responded 20 minutes later and said, hey, Neal, thanks for emailing. Yes, we will. Wait, and by the way, I'm reading yes more than he wrote yes. It's lowercase. Yes, we will get you on a show and we'll be in touch. Thanks. So getting down to brass tacks, do I respond today and be like,
What's the truth? What's the truth in the situation? How badly do you want him to book you? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best.
I would say at least a 9. I mean, like it would be a great opportunity.
Okay.
I think.
And what are the top 3 reasons? 1, great opportunity, and 2 reasons why it is a great opportunity. Have those in your mind. You don't have to say it because it might give it away.
Yeah.
But I would suck up to his ego and then slightly take it away from him. Go, you met me, you said this.
Yeah.
Some time has passed. I'm getting a lot of bookings coming in, and the last thing I want is to not be available when you want me on your. I don't want to miss your show. When I give my word, then I'm not going to cancel those shows, and I would hate to take a lesser show and miss yours.
Yeah. So maybe, yeah. So I think that's good, and I should probably do that like today.
Yeah.
Like just it's only been an hour, so he wrote that, like something like, yeah, no, and it's right. And I just measure like what the words are, but yeah, that's a good idea. Just
if I could just pencil in, like you minimize it, if I could just pencil in a date and time, I'll commit to it. And then if we need to change it, great.
And like for example, there's a comedy festival coming up in Houston called that's a new one, which I'm in. And so like I could be like, I can refer to say like, that's great. I said I could just say something like, it could be something like, as soon as I could pencil in some possible dates, the better, because there's this comedy festival coming up, which I'm in, and some other bookings. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Yeah. Something like that. How does that sound?
Yeah. And you could even say something like, you're my top priority to get booked. I'm not going to even lie. But once I make a commitment, you can change it. You can change the date if you need to. But once I make a commitment, I'll be there if it's happening. And I hate to miss your opportunity for these lesser obligations.
Yeah.
Now you're feeding his ego.
Yeah, I don't even think I have to explain but if I say, I can just be like, great, because performing at your place is a top priority for me. And he knows what that means.
Yeah.
And then say what we just said, like, but the sooner we could pencil in some possible dates, the better, because I have some whatever, blah, blah, blah coming up. So
good. Way to go. You have taken the woman-splaining out of it.
No, that's good. Actually, this, by the way, great. Thank you. By the way, I'm ranking your advice as out of 1,007 pieces of advice, this is the top piece of advice I've ever gotten. Coincidentally, I've gotten 1,007 pieces of advice in my life, and this was the top one.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, I have 1,008. I'm just kidding.
But I've taken a lot of notes here. Wait, note on email back to Guy. Right, take it away. Express they are a top priority, but also importance of getting dates identified. Love it. Has anyone taken as many notes during a show as I have? That's what I want to know.
No, you're great. I love this.
Is the sound of typing good for a show? Is that a good?
Oh yeah, you got to do that. And I mean, Doogie Howser did it. We could have got him.
Wait, Tommy Chong, is that who it was?
Tommy Chong.
So you talked for 4 hours? Okay, we're not
He did. I kept my mouth shut. Can you believe it? For 4.5, he likes to talk. he can talk. He can just put him on the show and just sit there and let him talk. Don't interrupt him. He'll lose his train of thought. Show some respect. He's older, he's wiser, and let him talk. He's gonna riff. He's gonna tell you things about life you didn't think of yourself. It's like talking to your grandpa. It was so great. And he's not even old enough to be my grandpa. He's so wise.
Nice. I love it. Hey, so actually, let me ask you. So I did see that you have some shows in some other cities coming up, right? So just tell me about it. Where are you going?
Oh my gosh, it's just blown up lately because, I've interviewed, I don't know if you know it, but I've interviewed 1,007.
I didn't know that. That's wow. Okay. Wow.
Well,
All right.
so I've gotten, I'm probably juggling right now, probably 18 or 20 comedians that have invited me to their shows.
Oh, got
And
it.
I can't be on all of them, and some of them haven't given me dates, but they've made the intentional gesture.
Right.
And so, I went and did Portland, a theater show, and I got 4 bookings out of that. So that's 4 new bookings. I had 18 before I went to Portland.
Nice.
And it's just like crazy. So this week I'm on a show. John Caparulo is starting a new show on Sundays at Wise Guys once a month, and
Okay.
I get to be on the initial show of it.
Great.
So that's really cool. And then March 14th, I'll be at Harvell's, which is the strip club.
In where? In Vegas?
Long Beach, California.
Oh, Long Beach, California. Okay. Got it.
John Benitez books it. He's a cool dude. And then March 29th and 30th and 31st, I'm doing the Seattle and Tacoma clubs.
Wow.
And then I'll be in Nashville in June 9th and 10th.
So now is this like a new level of booking and success for you, or has this been going on for a long time? Okay.
Brand new. Not even 2 months old.
How exciting.
Yeah. And I get a lot of shit from a lot of comics about it. Like, I'm not saying they're jealous, but I'm not saying they're not jealous.
Well, I mean, you don't have to say it. I mean, it's that's part.
When I go around the country, I'm gonna do it the smart way. All right. Well, you just let me know when happens. In the meantime, I'll be doing it the stupid way.
Right. Wow, that's exciting. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Where are you gonna be performing? It's supposed to be me asking you questions.
My garage, this corner of my garage, I perform often.
You're in the Houston festival that's new.
So there's a comedy festival. So there's a room in Houston called The Riot. And it's not
in Portland, Oregon.
What's that? No?
It's not in Portland, Oregon.
It's not in Portland, Oregon. No. There's one in Houston called The Riot. And it's become like a very well-run comedy room, and like it's grown, like it sells out. It actually feels a lot like the room at Wise Guys, like in terms of feel, like low ceiling. How many people can sit at that Wise Guys club?
250.
Yeah, this isn't 250. It's more like 150 or 140, but still, it's the upper floor of a pub, but like that room is just for comedy now. And The Riot has grown in popularity. They're getting more people from out of town to come and do like headlining set stuff. And they're doing their first ever comedy festival, March, like a Thursday through a Sunday, March 23rd to 26th. And so to get the way the guy that runs it here did it for the Houston comics, because, he's friends with a lot of everyone. I mean, like, so he smartly did not do it like, hit me up to be in the festival, because he's trying to make it like prestigious to get into it and that kind of thing. So he came up with this. He did a local contest And if you made the finals, then you'd be in the finals and you could win that contest. But then anyone in the finals, there's 8 comics in the finals, are going to be in the festival. And so really the semifinal round was the big, like, get into the festival round. And so anyway, that was back in September, and I got to the finals of his contest. So
you struck oil.
I struck oil. So that's coming up. That's probably the most exciting thing coming up. There's also this club owner that I'm emailing. So that's pretty exciting. And I'm going to take it away from him. No, and you know what? Actually, I've been doing more than anything lately is I do a lot of private and corporate stuff. Actually, quite a lot lately. I performed at a wedding. I performed at a bunch of holiday parties in December.
Was the wedding a corporate gig?
No, it was the wedding of Dow Chemical and DuPont Chemicals. Yes. I hereby declare you a chemical. I hereby declare you a chemical monopoly.
What side of the room did you sit on?
It's hard to tell. I like the specialty chemical side more than the agrochemicals. So my loyalties are split. But that was funny. So anyway,
that's a bit.
That's a bit. So I was just booked by a Catholic priest to perform. Yes, I'm not kidding. A Catholic priest. I'm booked to perform at a Catholic men's conference in a few months at a big, everything in Texas is big. Every church is like a mega church, right? So it's like a mega Catholic church about 30 minutes from here. I'm going to be the comic relief in the middle of a day where they're going to talk about resisting pornography. They're going to have lectures on how to be a good man, how to, if you have children, how to not be terrible fathers, that kind of thing. So, and then in the middle of the day, I'm going to come, this Jew is going to show up and I'm going to tell him some jokes. So actually in the last couple of months, I performed at a law firm called Simmons and Fletcher, which has big billboards in Houston, and they call themselves the Christian Lawyers. So I performed at their holiday party. I also performed at a Hanukkah party at a temple.
Me too.
Oh, good. And then I'm now going to perform for the Catholics. So I want to fill out my whole bingo card of denominations. So I'm looking for a Methodist church, maybe some Baptists. Give me some Buddhism. Give me a mosque. Let's do it. Let's do it. So I'm looking to fill out my bingo card, my religious comedy bingo card.
Your ad slogan when you contact them should be, if you don't hire me, you're anti-Semitic. Just like my dad would say.
Actually, the ad would just say, you are anti-Semitic. It does say. I'm just telling you before you say anything.
You can say, Neal Rosen, what's not to love?
What's not anti-Semitic?
God, that needs to be on your merch.
Yes.
Well, we're approaching an hour and a half, and I don't want to get a nasty phone call from Tommy Chong complaining that I had you on as long as him.
So how do you wrap it up here? What do you do? Do you do any wrap up thing?
Yeah, like one way to wrap it up is, you're not going to live forever. I'm sorry to tell you. I mean, do you know how many people I've interviewed that have died? So at some point,
they die. I mean, these are long interviews. They died during the interview. That's a lot.
Not yet. But I almost died on a Zoom. Anyway, so and I almost died. I had a vein rupture when I interviewed Eric Rivera.
Oh.
Anyway, so at some point you're going to get really old. Not today, unless you time travel.
Okay.
at some point you're gonna
I
get
agree.
really,
I agree. I will either get very old or I won't.
yeah, if you're lucky, you'll get really old.
Yes, yes. Those are the
And
options. I either
yeah,
will not get really old or I will. But yes, agreed. Yes.
and then you're gonna die at some point. But right
Agreed.
before you die,
Yes.
you want to be remembered for eternity. I mean, you have the opportunity right here to say an exclusive statement that will mark the rest of your life and beyond. I mean, this show is so important.
So we're kind of almost talking about like are we talking about in a way like what might be in my tombstone kind of
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
Yeah. So one of my favorite, you've probably heard this, but W.C. Fields, you ever hear this? And
No,
it's you know what it says on his tombstone? I think this is true. I don't know if this is a what do you call it when something is made up? A
a lie.
no,
Jewish.
there's something else though. Something that everyone thinks. A something myth or something. But anyway, I believe that on his tombstone it says, "At least I'm not in Cleveland."
What
I
did he
believe.
have? What did he have against Cleveland? Do we know?
No, but I think that's just, I don't know. It's just funny though, right? I don't know.
So funny. That's
So
so
actually, I don't know if this is really what on my tombstone, but so I play a lot of tennis. Okay, I like playing tennis, and I play on this old enough team, and we play other teams around Houston, and so it's semi serious. I mean, like you're trying to win, but there's nothing at stake at all. But still, people are very, you can imagine there's most people take it probably more seriously than they should. But I take it seriously. I'm trying to win. I'm not like, I'm not futzing around out there. I'm trying to win. So anyway,
futzing. That's a great word. I keep forgetting to say that, and I say the other
futzing
thing.
around.
Futzing.
Yeah, my mom says that a lot. I'm just futzing around. Okay. and I go, okay, like that's an answer. Mom, what are you doing today? I'm futzing around. Okay.
You know exactly what she's doing.
She's futzing. I don't know. It is an answer. Like, I don't need any more detail. Just futzing around. I don't know. It's a great word. It is an awesome word. Maybe that's what it should say on my tombstone. I'm just futzing around. But this is one time I played a singles match. This tells you how much this stuck with me. It was like, say, 4 or 5 years ago. And I played this guy that was very serious. Like he was like, if he messed up, he was like cursing and he was very upset, whatever. Anyway, we had a close match, really close match. And I barely beat him. And so we go to the net, and in tennis, you shake hands at the net. And he came up and I said, "Good match." And he said, "Sorry, I didn't play well." That's what he said.
Oh, give me a break.
Right. Like that was it. He didn't say congratulations. And so I actually started hysterically laughing. Like I just laughed because I just like
I wish I could have seen it.
because it's astoundingly you're being an astounding asshole when you say that, right? It's just like it's so astounding to come up after. In any circumstance, if he won the match, to come up and say, "I'm sorry, I didn't play well," would actually almost be worse. You know what I mean? But like,
this is a bit. This is a bit.
But thank you. But that's a good point. But he lost by a little bit and says, "Sorry, I didn't play well." Like, so I have not. So I thought it was so funny that he's such an asshole. And so among my tennis friends, the end of any match any match, we go to the net and I go, "Sorry, I didn't play well." and I have this friend that goes, he goes, "That's going to be on your tombstone." He goes, this guy said this 5 years ago. You've repeated it 3 times a week, every time since. He goes, "That's going to be your tombstone." And he goes, "One day you're going to be dead. It's going to be on your tombstone. It's going to say, 'Sorry, I didn't play well.' I'm going to be visiting your grave, annual pilgrimage." And he said, and some young person's going to be like, why does why does his grave say, sorry, I didn't play well? And I'll know the story. He goes, I'll tell them. So
On your cause of death, on the paperwork, when you die, you get that thing, certificate of death,
yes.
and they'll say reason for death. He didn't play well.
Yes.
He didn't play well with others, by himself, nothing.
Yes. So I think it's such a bizarre answer maybe to your question, but I think I want to be known as the guy with the tombstone that says, sorry, I didn't play well.
I love that. I love that. What do you want to do for people that come into comedy behind you? After you, younger comics, what have you done? Give me one thing that you'll never forget that you were able to do for another comic or the comedy community.
I have a good story on that.
Okay.
I have a legit story on helping someone.
Wait a minute, hold up. Where's my meter? This thing's shooting through the roof right now.
So as I said, day job at a software company, right?
Yeah.
10 to 12 years ago, there was a silent auction in my office building.
How do you know it happened?
That's a good one. So that's my office building. And so it was to raise money for something, American Heart Association, something like that. And so people running it came around we were out, big office building, 10 floors, didn't know everybody, different companies. They came around and said, do you have anything that you could put up for auction that you can help us raise money? Is there any service you provide? And I said, nah, not really. And then someone said, don't you do comedy? And I said, yeah. And they go, what if you the winning bid, they get a comedy show or something? And I go, like where? I mean, I don't like for what, And then I said, wait, how about this? Put this up for auction. Do you want to try doing comedy? That was what was put up for auction. Are you interested to try comedy for the first time? If you win this bid, Neal Rosen, an experienced comedian, will, and I defined it on a piece of paper. I said, we'll meet with you 3 times to get you ready, and then we'll escort you to an open mic and help you sign up. And so that's what I did.
I'm seeing the Nazis escorting the Jews, and
yes.
You will be escorted.
Yes. So anyway, there's 2 friends, these 2 guys, Matt, and I think his name was Justin. They won me. And so I found out, and I think they paid like $50, but they split it, they did it together. And I think they said, is it okay if we both do it for 50? And so I said, yeah, whatever, that's fine. And so so this is what I did for comedy. I met with Matt and Justin in a conference room in the middle of a work day, had our first meeting, and we just talked about comedy and why they're interested. I said, do you have any jokes? I mean, do you have any ideas? And they did. They were both a bit funny, at least a bit funny at first. And I was like, yeah, you guys are funny. I said, you guys have some ideas. You guys definitely have enough ideas to go try open mic. And then we practiced it a bit on the next meeting. And then we met one more time. And I said, let's look at the open mics. Let's pick one that would be a good one that might be, good for a first time. And then I went with them, and I went up and they went up, and we had a great night. And I would say this guy, Matt, did particularly well for his first time. He's by the way, he's from the UK, so he's got the accent too. So it was very, very, and he had jokes about Americans and UK and all stuff. And his friend was good too, but Matt was particularly good. Anyway, Matt is still a comedian.
No way.
And he calls himself English Matt, and he runs around Austin and Houston, and he's a comedian. So I brought English Matt to the world of comedy.
That is
Justin,
so
I think, only did it the one time.
That's so cool. I love that. I'm glad I asked. Well, you do play well with others.
Yeah. Hey, you know what I forgot? What was the oh yeah, I got it. Sorry. I didn't take a note, but now hold on. Before I forget.
You had a couple more, maybe you can listen to the video to catch the 2 bits that we didn't write down.
No, I got it. I got it. Don't you hate that? If you didn't, don't you hate if you didn't write something down and later you're like, oh crap, what was that? What was that? What was that? Oh my God.
Like when you're sleeping and you wake up laughing and you go, I'll remember that, and you don't.
No, that's a killer. I can't, I actually can't even go back to sleep until I note it down somehow.
Yeah.
Something, whatever it is, even if it ends up being garbage, I can't go on with my day until it's noted down somewhere.
Totally.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. Spoken like a true German.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so is that it? Are we wrap it up?
That's it. Tell people what Rosen means.
Oh, well, in German it means roses.
Yeah.
And then when you hear people named Rosenberg, it's like Mountain of Roses. Rosenthal is Valley of Roses. And Rosen from Fletch is just roses. But
what about roses smell like poo poo poo?
I don't know the German word for smell like poo poo poo, but probably
Also
something with shite. Probably Rosenshite. Rosenshite. There you go. I don't know.
Thank you. We'll end on Rosenshite.
Great.
Well, hey, it's going to break the internet today.
That was fun, Linda, and I wish you the best on your shows coming up. And I'm going to ping you, and let's do like a nut live streamed, nut aired joke writing session or something like that.
Not even recorded, unless
Not
you
even.
want to.
Not even. I'm going to take the ball. I'm going to take the ball, and I will contact you about that.
Yes, nail it down. Take it away from me.
Taking it. It's gone. You don't even have it. All right.
The takeaway is taking it away.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.